my fellow Extraordinary Americans. My name is Cosmos, and this is Extraordinary America. What is Extraordinary America about? Extraordinary America is about the financial freedom of the 99%. It is about the abolition of financial slavery. It is also about choosing empathy over narcissism. Why? Well, you see, the ideals of America have always been freedom, opportunity for a better life, and the pursuit of happiness. However, on the financial front, most people have not been attaining that, right? Most Americans are now going through massive levels of wealth and income inequality. They're going from one paycheck to another. They're barely able to pay their bills. And due to the coronavirus pandemic, millions of them have actually lost their jobs right now. More importantly, they're suffering from something called stagflation combined with debt. What is that? Well, you see, the purchasing power of the US dollar has been reducing over a long period of time due to excessive money printing, right? And so this leads to inflation of prices over a period of time. Now, when you combine this with the outsourcing of jobs, that means that most people will have stagnant wages, right? So now when you combine stagnant wages along with inflation, right, it leads to the reducing ability of us to buy goods and services. And when you combine that with the fact that you have to maintain your lifestyle and you have to maintain your current lifestyle, you take on more and more debt, which forces you to go to work in order to pay off those debts. And this leads to complete and utter financial slavery. Last but not the least, due to the coronavirus pandemic and due to recent events, we're headed towards an economic depression, which is going to be followed by a rapid hyperinflation eventually, right? And this is going to be due to excessive printing of money backed by nothing tangible, because the US dollar is a fiat currency, and this will lead to utter financial slavery. Moreover, we see that right now our country is divided completely based on conservative and liberal, right and left, masculine and feminine, right? But in reality of the situation is it is not actually these divisions that are actually causing divisions. It's not a choice between the right and the left. It's not a choice between the masculine and the feminine. It is not a choice between the father and the mother. It's a choice between an empath family or a narcissistic family, and our decision to choose empathy over narcissism, not just in ourselves, but in the national family as well, right? So what is Extraordinary America about? It is about choosing empathy over narcissism, and on the financial front, it is about the abolition of financial slavery. It is about the financial freedom of the 99%. How is this to be done? For the financial front, it is to be done by first, on the short term, investing in tangible assets such as gold, silver, and cryptocurrencies, which will protect you from the devaluation, hyperinflation of the fiat currency, that is our dollar. And in the long term, it is to be done by number one, transformation of the 99% into entrepreneurs and investors on the light side. Number two, the creation of spiritual economic institutions led by Jedipreneurs that create wealth for the 99% and help them become financially free, but also provide the 5 essentials of food, water, shelter, healthcare, and education, right? And they do this for the sake of the Father of the universe, who is the Father of all the beings in this entire universe, right? Because they believe that we are all one family, and they have to act as intermediaries for what the Father wills. And last but not the least, the replacement of the fiat monetary system with the American Dream Standard or the Humanity Upliftment Standard. Why? Because you see, money is nothing but a store of perceived value, a medium of exchange for perceived value, and a medium of account for value, right? For perceived value. But ultimately, people have valued gold and silver for thousands of years, and they value fiat money because everybody collectively perceives it as valuable. But what does the Father of the universe actually value? And the answer to the question is an uplifted human being, right? What do his prophets and all the people on the light side, what have they always valued over the longest period of time? And you realize that it is an uplifted human being that is of value, and so therefore that should become so our monetary system has to be based on that knowledge altogether, right? And now lastly, when it comes to empathy over narcissism and on the divisions that is facing America today, it is about understanding the fact that we are a family with a mother and a father that's narcissistic, and it is our duty, and children that have become narcissistic over time, and it is our duty to choose to hold on to a vision of an empath family over a narcissistic family, and that is how we're going to heal the country, right? And now in today's video, I want to briefly talk about Lightside versus Darkside exchange when it comes to the financial front, or when you're doing a deal, or when you're doing, or when you're working as an entrepreneur altogether, right? So there are basically 4 different types of exchanges. You have an abundant exchange, you have a fair exchange, you have a partial exchange, and you have what is called a criminal exchange. Right? When you, most of business for thousands of years have been done between fair exchange to a partial exchange to a criminal exchange. Right? What are these 4 exchanges? Criminal exchange is when you promise someone something and then you do not deliver on those results. Right? You basically con that person completely. Right? You tell them that I'm going to give you something, or we have agreed to this thing, and then you just like pull back at the last amount. So the person feels like he's been cheated. Right? And then you have the partial exchange where you agree with another person, or you agree with a customer about something, right? And then like you basically only deliver partial amount of goods. You do not deliver the entire thing. And a fair exchange is when you agree to something and you guys both deliver on that same amount of goods and services, or the same amount of promises, right? I told that I'm going to do this and I'm going to end up doing this. And an abundant exchange is when you basically make an agreement, but then the other person over delivers or gives something more in addition. In effect, he's very generous and is very giving, and he gives more than you have actually ever asked for, right? And this happens, these 4 types of exchanges play out in business all across the world, and also when between business people and their customers, right? Sometimes you have what is called fair exchange, and sometimes you have partial or criminal exchange. Partial and criminal exchange tend to be on the dark side, where somebody promises something and then they don't end up delivering, or they basically con you out of something, right? This is where con men come from. They give you these grandiose promises and then they don't deliver on those promises. And then you have on the other side, on the light side, you have the abundant exchange, and you have the fair exchange where you promise something, or you say that you're going to deliver this, and then you give that thing accordingly. And so that is the essential difference. And where do you think this comes from exactly? It comes from the 2 philosophies of empathy and narcissism. You see, when you're thinking from a narcissistic point of view, right, you're thinking of the world as a zero-sum game, where in order for somebody to win, another person has to lose. In order for you to come out at top, you have to beat the other person down and somehow take something from him. It's coming from a taking mentality, right? And this is a very toxic mentality, and this is what is going across the world at the moment. Most people these days have a taking mentality. They just want to take. They don't want to give at all, right? And now on the light side, basically is about giving, right? It comes from a position of love, or an empathy, or an understanding for the other person. You want to basically give, right? And you give more than you deliver. This is where the fair and the abundant exchange comes from. And you don't think of life as a zero-sum game. You believe in the lifting up of all the ships. You think that when you raise the other person up, you raise yourself up as well. And if you guys help uplift each other up, that is the way it goes. And now the thing is, for hundreds of years, most of business, I would actually say thousands of years, most of business has been done from a narcissistic standpoint, where basically in order for somebody to succeed, another person has to fail. This creates a lot of distrust and paranoia, and this is not really the proper way of doing things. And this actually just doesn't apply to entrepreneurship and business. It applies to all facets of life. The way you do one thing is the way you're going to do something else, right? The way you are in one area of your life will manifest in other areas of your life. So I would say that we should have mentality of at least neutral to empathy-based ways of going about the world, where you had the mentality of uplifting all the ships and raising all the ships versus the zero-sum game. And I know what some people are going to say. Some people are going to say, oh, well, this is just the way the world is. This is just the way people are. You know, you cannot change human nature. I would say no, the change starts from you, right? You have to be that person that creates this change, and then you create a rippling effect, and then you create a world where people are inspired to do a fair exchange and an abundant exchange, and they tend to be more giving. And then that's how change actually happens, right? The past is the past, right? The world is where it is because of a narcissistic worldview where everything is a zero-sum game, and where in order for one guy to succeed, the other guy has to lose, right? But you can create that change, and that starts with us, and that starts with the right mentality. And this is why I wanted to make this video tonight. And I wanted to talk briefly about what the empath exchange versus a narcissistic exchange would look like, right? And where is it coming from exactly, right? And so I would like to conclude this video by saying that if you like what we're talking in this video, please do subscribe to our channel. And the next video we'll talk some more. And all I have to say is bye for now. Take care.